So you beautiful people, welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to focus on something that's really frustrating me in not only Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2, but in Call of Duty in general at the moment, especially when it comes to Infinity Ward games. Now, to get some context, we kind of need to cast our mind back. But before we say that, we're not going to talk about skill-based matchmaking or engagement-optimized matchmaking. We're going to push those to the side today, even though we could technically tack them on to what I'm saying. But casting our minds back, we need to go all the way back to 2010. That's a good year for me in terms of gaming, because that's when I first laid my hands on Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. It was the first game I played of the series, missed the other couple of games, simply because I was that heavily involved in the music industry. I really didn't have time for gaming at that particular time. And as I started to get a bit of an anticlimax for music, I started to get back into gaming. I was an avid first-person shooter from a long period of time ago. GoldenEye, Red Faction, Resistance of Man. In fact, my first online experience was Resistance of Man, shotgun-only lobbies, going into the American servers on purpose just to annoy you Yanks with my English voice, even though a lot of you guys seem to love it now, but I was probably saying a few different things back then, and it was my first bit of trash talking. So you better believe Modern Warfare 2's experience was absolutely beautiful in every way, shape or form, even though initially I absolutely got my ass handed to me. Now, what did I love about that game? Well, I loved that it was a pick up and play game. Literally pick it up, learn the buttons very quickly in a couple of minutes and get on with it. And even though I got battered, as time went on, the addiction started to build. Oh, if I can string this many kills together, I can get a UAV. Oh, the UAV shows me where people are on the map if they've not got a silencer on. And as time went further on, I got more confident. I got bigger kill streaks. I got Predators, Harriers. And then eventually one day I thought, to hell with it. Let's turn the UAV off, keep the Predator and the Harrier on, and we'll go for a pave low. Oh, we're doing it big now. And I even remember the very first map that I actually got the Pavela on. It was Afghan. Got plenty of kills with it as well. And it was just a really, really good experience to be at the top of the leaderboard at the end of the game. And the kill cam was my Pavelo absolutely ruining people. And I think that was the moment where Call of Duty had me. And I brought every single Call of Duty since. And some of them I've moaned a lot about. Some of them I've thoroughly enjoyed to the point where I put 55 days played in Modern Warfare 3. But what am I actually getting at? Well, if we fast forward to 2022 and play Modern Warfare 2, the reboot, as we'll call it, that sentiment isn't there. I mean, down in the comment section, you guys tell me, when you went on Modern Warfare 2, if you've played that game, who on your friends list was on anything else? Because all that was on my friends list, everyone was playing Call of Duty. Now if I boot up my PC or my PlayStation or whatever it is that I play Call of Duty on, I may find 2 or 3 people on if I'm lucky and it's the right time of day. But most of the time, people will be playing other things or they won't be playing at all. And it's kind of a sad state of affairs for Call of Duty in reality. Now, they say they make this game for more of a casual player. And I've heard this mantra so many times. And we're just the vocal minority when it comes to decision making in this game. And it's very clear that Infinity Ward want to make this game for what they believe is a casual audience. But I've got to ask that one question that burns me every time I hear that narrative. What constitutes to a casual gamer in this day and age, 2022? Because the casual gamer they are talking about now isn't the same casual gamer that existed when Modern Warfare 2, the original, came out in 2009. They're nothing in the same. Gaming is more popular than it has ever been in my lifetime. There are people who are literal millionaires now because people watch them play games all day. Gaming is so popular, and the pandemic put that into another stratosphere because people couldn't come out of their houses. Gaming is booming right now. So in terms of casual gamers, way back in 2009, if you played Call of Duty through your TV, it was the norm. Whereas now TVs and technology has moved so far on, kids tend to have iPhones in this day and age. The babbies watch their children's shows on iPads now. Everything is so much more accessible than it was back then. Headsets, you can get them for $15.99. You can plug them into the bottom of your PS5. And this is just indicative of the times that we live in now. So when I hear that argument about casual gamers, are you saying casual gamers are people that come home and play a couple of hours after work? Because that's just the norm now. That is just the norm. That is a gamer. People have lives where they can't play the game because they're at work. Do I need to state the obvious? Are you a casual gamer now because you play the game for a few weeks and then you put it down? Okay, there are a lot of people that do that, but that tendency is because Call of Duty is so forgettable now in this day and age. It's so diluted from what it used to be. And it's because Infinity Ward, the current Infinity Ward, not the Zampella and West, who were all about the integrity of fun. It's all about white knighting now from these developing teams. They are doing their absolute best to come up with the perfect science to protect people, to make them feel better about themselves in games, which I don't understand for a second. Instead of getting people to explore maps and try and engage and try and learn things, and take the training wheels off eventually, they want people to cower in a corner and they want to give them as much things as they can to make that obtainable. I mean, if you try and run in this game, you sound like a Tyrannosaurus Rex. If you try and reload, you're going to be penalized with this really long-winded animation. And if you start running just that bit too quickly, then when you stop, because your gun hasn't reloaded, you've now got to wait until it's rechambered. You want to pull your UAV out? That's going to cost you in a lengthy animation. Oh, you want to speed that up, do you? You can use fast hands, but guess what? You're going to have to wait until that perk's activated in the game. The map design, everything is down to a complete and utter science. The skill gap compression in this game is something that drives me absolutely insane because it's almost an insult to casual gamers. It should be an insult to anyone that's just picked up Call of Duty, that people need to pander to you and treat you as if you're that stupid. You can't point and shoot in a game that has always been casual anyway. Call of Duty has never had the biggest skill gap, but there's definitely been a skill gap in the games I've played up until now. If we go and talk about stuff like Rainbow Six Siege, then there's a real different learning curve in that game. But although there's a skill gap, it's a smaller one. Ultimately, to learn to play this game, it's going to take you about 15 minutes to understand that you need to press L2 or R2 to shoot, or whatever's on your keyboard and mouse, forward to run, and everything else comes naturally with muscle memory. It's not complicated. But they've done things that are counterintuitive and backwards of everything they're trying to stand for. They're trying to support newer casual gamers to make them play this game and get a new fresh audience. And then you introduce them to this gunsmith that is... Even Albert Einstein's looking at it, scratching his head thinking, oh, I've got to unlock this attachment for this gun to unlock that attachment. But to unlock that attachment, I've actually got to go and use that gun over there before I can unlock that attachment on that gun, before I can use that gun to unlock that said attachment. It's so stupid. I think what's happened here is there's too many cooks who have sport the broth. There's too many people that have got involved and come to a desk in a board meeting and made suggestions for the sake of making them. And you know what? They've actually made them their way into the game. The game doesn't know what it wants to be anymore. It wants to be a military simulator, but an arcade shooter at the same time. You cannot have both. The skill gap compression needs to die. I think a perfect example of what I'm trying to say is Fortnite. Fortnite is arguably the biggest game we have saw in our lifetimes. This game got more complex and got bigger. The building came into the game later on. People developed and built a skill, and that actually made that game become more popular. But these guys want to regress with things and go backwards and decrease the skill gap because they think it's going to bring more people to the game. Let that one just fester in your head for a second. The biggest game ever got more complex, and that's when it went viral. When it got more complex, when Myth was with Summit G1 and beat him, and he was just a nobody, and overnight he became a millionaire, basically. It's a strange one, isn't it? When you think about it like that. We don't need games dumbing down, because ultimately it was 10-year-old kids playing Fortnite mainly out there, and they'd go into the creative mode, which is what I've been saying about Call of Duty, create a boot camp for people. They'd go into creative and get better and do those 180s and 360 box moves until they could finally build the thing and then take it into the actual game. It's just a absolute demonstration that if a game is inherently fun, people will play. If your game is good at its core, people will play. And the problem with Call of Duty right now is, one, the skill gap is sucking the fun out of the game for a lot of people. And then when you couple that with skill-based matchmaking, engagement optimized matchmaking, and then all the bugs and crashes on top of that, you've got a very bad product that sets a bad example to any other people that could be brought into that game via word of mouth, like I was with the original Modern Warfare 2. Infinity Ward are doing things all wrong, and I don't think there's no getting through to these people. But I know people are going to jump in the comment section and say things like, you need to adapt. But the ironic thing is, this game has changed so much for those people that they believe can't adapt, and then they've got the cheek to tell us to adapt to a game that was changed for you in the first place because you couldn't adapt. That's a funny one, isn't it? Guys, down in the comment section, do you believe the skill gap is being compressed too much in Call of Duty? Would you like the game to be that touch more competitive and have that bigger skill gap? Let me know down in the comment section your thoughts and feelings. Guys, there are many buttons you could hit, but a like and subscribe button, I hope they tickle your fancy. And as always, guys, don't forget to stay on the right track. Peace.